Hello and welcome to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Winona, and today I'm with the wonderful, amazing, great friend.
Every time. Oh dear. Hello, everybody. My name is Whis, and I am playing Celeste Alamos today, also known as Selli. Wait, when are we gonna get her name changed, Nona?
I don't know. She's your character. If you want to make it official, we can go. We can do that off screen.
Oh yes, we have to go about doing that. When they're ready. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about something else. We're here to talk about work.
Ironically, yes, we're here to technically talk about work, and I'll be playing basically every NPC with maybe one or two player characters coming at you, because this is subject matter expert. It's the name of the title card, and basically, long story short, the university needs more staff.
Yes, Sally is recruiting because basically her entire staff quit when they realized they were no longer being mind controlled by a dragon. Funny that.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
And she's like, okay, well, fuck. Except because she's much too polite for that. But you know, the sentiment was there.
Yeah, basically that one SpongeBob sort of meme where all the SpongeBobs in the brains is just running around scrambled while everything's on fire. That's basically been the university.
Yes, more or less. And she's been doing a very good job. But
yes, she has been doing a great job. But that was definitely them at the beginning.
and done a lot with what she was given. But she has now opened up interviews for people who have any particular interest in teaching their particular area of expertise at the University of UPA. And today is interview day. She's very excited. Because she's really hoping that some of these people will be good for this.
And there's also been talk since everything has basically changed since you took over, because you're like the first, say Celeste is basically the first headmistress slash headmister that wasn't originally like from the school. Like usually it's like, okay, you become a professor, and then you become a head of department, and then usually one of the heads of departments eventually becomes a headmister once the other one is retired and or dead.
Yes. Technically, she's never been to a formal school. So, gossip abounds, I'm sure.
So there was a meeting, and basically you've also convinced the staff to say, look, we need more heads of the colleges. Yes, I know that we usually have it in a certain way, but this is also an emergency sort of situation.
A highly unusual situation. We don't normally have a mass exodus of this. We just do not have the internal people to do this. Yeah. We need fresh blood.
And there has only been one professor who wants to take up the mantle, but basically they're making him interview first, that because of his certain reputation.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I suppose we'll start with him then. Are we doing? I think we wouldn't. She wouldn't do interviews in her office because the headmistress's office is pretty damn imposing, and she wants to make a good neutral impression. Because she's not here to, intimidate anyone. That was, what was her name? Umbra's bag. Yes. She's not in this to intimidate anyone. She is not here to be like, I am all super important and you will do as you are told in front of me. She's here for a collaborative thing. So instead of having the interviews in her office, she would definitely be taking them in some sort of meeting room or conference room somewhere else in the admin building. A very neutral kind of place.
Yeah, of course. And there's plenty of conference rooms too. And of course, like there's only so many interviews one person can do, and you've definitely gotten help to do some of the other interviews for other positions too.
Yeah, like she doesn't know the ins and outs of the university so well that she can interview for every single teaching position. Like, so she'd probably get, if they were trying to get people to teach particular subjects, so like at the Wizarding College, she'd probably get the head of that college. I think we've still got one, don't we?
Yes,
yeah.
they say you do.
Yeah, to
Yes,
take those
they say
interviews.
as Luke.
Yeah, because he knows how that college works, so that makes sense. But for like head of department, or for people that they don't feel as though they should be interviewing, she's doing those personally.
Yeah, and basically you'll be interviewing the three key. At least, unfortunately, there has been, or at least for this FPS, there are more interviews than there are like shown on screen. But there'll be basically for Selli 3 key interviews that I will role play out, if that makes sense.
Yep. No, she'll be busy doing this, but ain't nobody got time to do that. Not in real time. Oh dear.
Not in real time. No, you expressed interest in doing the problem child of the university, who you know as Professor Clank.
Okay, sure.
He is a artificer. He is applying for the head of the Artificer College. And according to the other heads of the departments, which is honestly impressive because his reputation precedes the Artificing College as a discount demolitions expert.
Okay, I love that. That's great.
Even though he is a I forget off the top of my head what that subclass is called. Artillerist. He's technically an artillerist. But he has also been known to give every chance that he can to explode stuff for science.
I mean, humans do that in real life. Sure, why not?
Look, I can't say anything because I mean, United States, I look at the South. I am both impressed and terrified by what those rednecks can do.
Oh, criminy. Okay. Alright. Professor
Yeah.
Clank. Alright. Cool.
Yeah, and he comes in, and he is a elderly-looking green, real-kind kobold with a humped back and a fake mustache on his face, which he, like, tries to adjust to make himself look good because he's taking this seriously. He is, unlike what the other heads of department he would think he would do, he's wearing a nice little brown suit and tie.
Oh my god, I was drinking my tea when you were describing this character, and then I know things! I personally know things, I'm like, oh, alright, this is what we're doing. Okay, cool, fun, I love this. Nice! Okay. Well, Selli is sort of sitting there. She's not sitting at the, like, the head or I suppose they're both the head or the tail of this long conference table. She's sort of sitting more in the middle on one of the long sides, and there's a bottle of water and 2 glasses, and she's got a notepad and a quill and a few pieces of paper around her with notes and things, and she looks up as Professor Clank comes in, and she gives him a very polite smile, and thank you for coming, Professor. Please take a seat.
Of course, as the professor goes over and takes his seat across from her.
So, I don't want to be the one to do most of the talking. I want to hear what you have to offer. I understand that you have a particular interest in the head position at the Artificers College.
Yes, I am. Even though I'm not the longest running professor there, I feel like I am the one of the most skilled, you could say, the most experienced, you could say. More like, not like teaching or anything, but more like technical aspects. Like, I've been doing this, I've been making artillery and other doodads and magical gizmos since I was basically hatched. And he looks very proud of that.
She nods and she takes a little bit of a note. Well, there is a lot to be said for practical experience. But there is a difference between having practical experience and teaching and being able to run an institution like one of the colleges of the university. Can you explain to me what it is about the head position that interests you?
He taps his sort of chin. How can I explain it? There's no organization, and he sort of pounds his hands on the table. Like, honestly, like the whole place is a mess, and that's coming from me in particular. And you probably know my reputation. And he gives a little wink. Like, seriously, say the last head professor, like, he was good at his craft, but he didn't even care really much about say organizing the whole school. Say a lot of times had to pick up some of the I had to pick up some of the slack there. He was a technical genius like me, but he never worked as a team, at least from what I've seen.
Hmm.
And that's where my sort of thing is that I've always been on a team of some kind or another. Even though I may be a little bit, pardon the pun, bombastic, I at least knew how to organize my own stuff.
Well, having some organizational skills is very important. And I would agree. One of the things that I'm trying to apply across the entire university is a very strong teamwork approach, because if everyone is only working for their own interests, the students and the university as a whole will suffer. So that's definitely a good start. There are still some other professors at the Artificers College. How do you get along with them, and do you think that they would, how to put it? Would they be willing to take direction from you? Is there mutual respect, to your knowledge?
From those who have left, of course. We've been working all around the clock to make the Artificer College tick, you could say. we all have respect for each other, and basically they weren't keen on getting this position. They're fine with the smaller stuff, but none of them wanted to make the step up to the head position. And I was the only one who had guts to even try it.
And why is that? What is it that sets you apart?
I ain't afraid of anything, that's why. And he just smiles. Look, I don't shy from a challenge nor a project. And if it can be done, I will make it work.
That is a very good attitude to have. Now, Professor, I do have to ask as well.
If you're gonna ask, do I actually have a degree in this stuff? Yes, I do. I came from Toonkind University, graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering as a master artificer. I actually do have some backing to my prowess, unlike some of the artificer professors there.
Actually, it wasn't going to be anything to do with that. I'm sure you've quite heard. I don't have any formal qualifications myself. But I was going to ask about your reputation in the university, and whether or not you can reassure me that your reputation will not be an issue if I was to grant you this position?
He rubs the back of his neck. Yeah, I knew that question was gonna come up eventually. I know I've been sort of gun ho about everything in my own work and stuff, and I do have a penchant with explosives. I ain't gonna do that. Some even commented that I'm more tuned than real kind, but I will take this position seriously, and if it means cranking down on the notches of my explosive tendencies, I am willing to do that.
Because ultimately we are not here for ourselves, are we?
No, we're here for everyone, to keep everyone safe from any of this ever happening again.
Yes, indeed. And what would you implement? What are your plans for the Artificers College if you were
You
to
don't
get
even
the
get to
head's
finish.
position?
You don't get to finish that sentence as he has a bag of holding and he takes out a stack of papers.
Oh, goody! She'll just sort of trail off a little bit and just sort of put her hand to her cheek and you are prepared for that question as well, I see.
Yep. I think showing would be better than telling.
Alright, well, why don't you give me a little bit of a rundown of maybe the top two on the stack?
He is a as he like he goes to the top of the paper thing, but he isn't with his hunchback. He isn't quite able to reach, so he's like, 1 second, as he climbs on top of the table and gets the first pieces of paper. Say, the first thing that needs to be noted in the Artificer College is again organization. We sort of have our own like specialties, as you know. Me with firearms and artillery, others with chemicals and say alchemy. There's others with mechanics. However, it hasn't been always clear cut and simple from the artificer and the scientific courses that are not based on artificer. Like they're still similar, but you don't have to be an artificer to really know them. Actual chemistry and like biology and geology, that hasn't been really a good like split in organizational terms between like, okay, you're in charge with this sector and here's in charge with that sector. That would be my first thing, to clear up the confusion between actual artificing classes and then general like run of the mill geology, biology, geography. I think I said geography twice, but you know what I mean there. That would be my first to say act.
Alright, that is a good start. And second?
Second of all, as he reaches for the next paper, getting as a sort of like giving a sort of say seniority like management role with with experience. Of course we have to be careful of who we choose, because we want to make sure the right people are in there, like you said, team players and not work for yourselves. But I wanted then, once settling through the mismatch of organizing who's going to say what thing is going to be controlled by what person, then decide on who is actually going to be in there.
On that note, what resources do you think that the college would appreciate in the future, going forward, to realise your quite hefty list of improvements?
He sort of like taps his hand on his finger. Well, one of the things that's a little bit more down the list is getting new equipment for all the labs and everything. of course, we've tried to replace everything up to date as we can, but having new equipment would also be my third thing on the list, if anything.
Do you want to roll an insight on her?
Yes, he will indeed roll an insight on her. Let me get his character sheet up. Oh, I love him. I keep forgetting his. I remember his stats, and this makes sense. It's just a straight D20.
Lol.
He's a 13.
13. All right. You can't get a whole lot of nuance because, like, I don't believe that Clank's had huge amounts of interaction with Pokemon tunes, but
Oh.
but she does seem to be like she's had some sort of idea and is pondering it very, very carefully. But like she's not letting it completely overtake her thought process because she has a lot of thoughts that all need significant attention. But she's had a thought of some variety.
He points at her. You've had a thought. Let's hear your thought.
I think I might keep my thoughts to myself just at the moment. But it is good to know the kind of things that you would require in order to make sure that the students of your college are given the best possible education. And that's not just in the artificing departments, but also in, as you were saying, the more mundane studies, I suppose.
Yeah. My fourth thing on my list is actually getting a good list of up-to-date like resources and theories and everything because like honestly different professors from what I've seen before use different theorems. Not all of them are up to date. So we need to also get a full list of up-to-date theories that we approve of and everything. That's a laundry. Within that one subject, there's a laundry list of things to go through.
Yes, professional development is also something I have noticed that the university has been lacking, unfortunately. But yes, no, good. Professional development is definitely on your, well, it's even in your top 5. How splendid. Alright, now, how long have you been at the university, Professor?
He taps his finger. Maybe about a year or so now.
And what were you doing before that?
Mainly doing, say, stuff for my own research. Say, I'm a gunsmith partially by trade, along with, of course, the other chillers, factors, cannons, and everything. But I don't know. When you get old and everything, you sort of want to have that urge of passing along to a newer generation. And I sort of felt like, look, I don't want to teach like young kids anymore. I say I don't have the patience for that. But college level kids, like they're grown ups. I could teach them a few things.
I see. And so you wouldn't have a previous employer who could give a reference of any kind?
Not really. Other than some customers of my that I've had in the past. It's just like I was working for myself.
I see. Well, how would one of those customers, say you're most satisfied, how would one of those customers describe you, do you think?
An explosive personality, always keen to the details, and always make sure to balance what the customer wants and what's feasibly possible, because those are two different things at times, especially with some of those orders.
I can imagine. I can imagine quite clearly. Now, we've talked about quite a lot of your skills and experience. What about your drawbacks? Your weaknesses? Where would you need the most support?
feel like you already know all my weaknesses. As he sort of insinuates his explosive personality with loving to explode stuff.
Well, I know what I've been told by yourself and others, but I want to hear from you. Not just as a professor and not as a person, but as the head of a college. Your responsibilities will be greatly different to simply teaching classes. You will need to have organizational skills, you will need to have people skills, you will need to be able to manage quite a bit. In that capacity, where would you need the most support?
Most likely by people skills, if anything. Not everyone can handle a personality like me, and I recognize that. But sometimes I sort of forget it when I'm in the moment, of explaining stuff because, I'm passionate about my work. So sometimes my personality can get away from me.
And what support do you need to get around that?
Basically,
Training, or do you need people around you that you can, well, translate your bombastic nature into something a little bit more beginner friendly?
probably the second answer, because I was about to say someone to keep by me and slap me on the back of my head just in case if I forget something.
Is there somebody employed by the college already who could perform in that capacity?
I mean, any of the I would say any of the artificer professors could probably do that, but probably someone from an outside source would be better, since a lot of us as artificers have a very similar mindset. So probably someone outside the college, if anything, to keep me in line. Maybe one of those wizards.
All right. I will make a note of that. All right. Is there anything else that you wish to discuss that you think may persuade me?
He thinks upon this a long time. Nope, not really. Not that I can think of, at least. Unless you need a metalsmith for your upcoming wedding, as he thinks.
Thank you, but we have that well in hand at the present. Right, well, thank you very much for your time, Professor. I will be in touch directly.
Of course. It's a pleasure to be seeing you again, Miss Alamos, or I should say future Mrs. Scramble, as he gives little finger guns and a wink.
Yes, sometime in the future, but for now, that will be all.
Look, I am willing to do fireworks for you for free, no charge at all. Just say the word.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Professor.
No problem.
She's just gonna sit there and wait for him to leave.
Yeah, he leaves after that. After saying that, and he makes sure to make sure he puts away his pay fares and then leaves.
I like Clank. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I like Clank too.
Oh dear. Selli's going to have to ask some of the other heads, go, okay, what am I missing here? Because he seems just fine to me. What's wrong? Why were you all so worried about him? Yes, he makes things blow up, but so do wizards. Yeah. Previous employer. Snark. Alright. Who's next on her list, Nona?
Let's see. Let's see. Roll me a D2.
Alright. is a 2.
All right, we're just gonna get this one out of the way first. Okay, we'll see. This will be fun.
All right. Love that. Love the sound of that.
As you get out the paper, as you've done some other interviews for today, and you get out your next person for interview. He has a resume. He has a resume, and his name is Christopher Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
And he walks in, and this is a male, real kind human with striking hazel eyes, short brown hair with strands of gray to make it look a little bit lighter. He's cleanly shaven with slightly pointed ears and canines, and wears a white undershirt with a nice sort of leather vest that has some like carvings in it.
Okay.
Flowery gloves, and dark pants. Kind of has a noble way of. He's sort of. You don't know why. He's sort of like. You get a noble feeling off this guy. And he's wearing cologne. And do you want to make a perception check really quickly?
Yeah, I can do a perception check. What's your perception, Celeste? I'm not bothering to get at my dice today. It is just not one of those days. 19.
Oh, yeah. He's obviously wearing cologne, of course, but you also sort of have the faint, like, hint of oil coming off of him. Through the cologne. You can obviously tell he's trying to hide that scent.
Sure, okay. And what position has he applied for?
He is applying for the head of the Blood Hunter College.
Fuck me. Okay. Yep, sure. Alright, cool. You're killing me, Nona. You are absolutely slaughtering me back here.
Yes, I know. I will give you some slight background on the Blood Hunting College because of all of the colleges within the university, this is the newest college. It's only been around for maybe 10, maybe even less than 10 years or so.
Sure.
So it was already very small when like being fully into the college, like before all this happened. And basically, pretty much, there is no one left. There is no one left to teach there. Every one of the Blood Hunting College professors in the head was like, nope, I'm out.
Fair enough. So they've had to suspend all classes then, I suppose.
They had to suspend all classes.
Alright. Okay. Well, I guess... What are you gonna do? Because he's not already known to the college, like Clank was already a professor, I am going to say that Selli would have done ask the stagehand's Requiem probably to do a background check on the guy. Should I roll a history for how that goes?
Yeah, roll a history.
23.
Not only just the Requiem, basically he since Clank was already at the college, you already had his full deal, and you basically with every other person who has been heading doing interviews for the heads of the colleges, you had basically a formal resume and everything. So you get from this guy, and basically everything that he has on his list has been seems to be have confirmed by the Requiem on paper. Basically, he is a professional hunter specializing in evil fae, fiends, and undead. However, he's also had letters of recommendation from multiple guilds in and out of Inkwell saying that, yeah, this guy is a legit professional hunter. This is full-time job and everything. And one other thing of note, that he has a certificate of authenticate,
Authenticity?
yes, from another continent, from the continent of genre, from the Queen and King. He has been, he was notified, say he was recognized there.
Very impressive. Very impressive credentials. Cool. All right. Well, she will sit up straight as he comes in and just go, Mr. Valentine, come in. Please take a seat.
Thank you kindly, as he goes over to sits in front of her.
So, it's lovely to have you here. Can you please tell me a little bit about yourself and what's interesting you in the head of the Bloodhunters College position?
Yes, I am a professional hunter by trade. I have hunted both is a real kind and two kind devils, fiends, and fae. I have been say recognized by many guilds along with my say official original certification of well hunting from my home continent of genre. And and you don't have to say it's not much of a secret within the blood hunting the blood hunting sector that you have no people left in this college to properly teach blood hunting of any kind.
That is true. We have had every member of faculty from that college leave the university. But we are of the mind that we want the right people for the job rather than just arrears on seats. So, while I've read your resume and seen your credentials, what is it about teaching and the head of the college in particular that piques your interest?
I'm gonna be a bit honest with you. A little bit of pity to start off with, especially when I've seen say I haven't met formally many of the professors there, but their reputation stands within the community, and all of them were highly reputable. So seeing all of them leave at one time is already a red flag. I say honestly, I'm surprised. Say I'm not very sure how many blood other interviews he had of other blood hunters, so I'll be interested to hear whoever else wants to try this position. But also, I've wanted to retire for a long while now. I've 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 had I say it's the hunt is fun, but I if I keep going like this, I'm not gonna have a natural death. And after a long sort of bit of soul searching, I don't want that. I'd rather just sort of settle down in a way, but kind of not really. It's hard to say. Habits are hard to break, and I thought this would be a good thing to sort of retire on. To be head of a college that, well, desperately needs it.
And what has attracted you to our university as opposed to one in genre? Surely there are plenty of other institutions closer to your home that could satisfy that particular urge. If one were to completely overlook the pity aspect, which you would not be the first person I've spoken to today who has that as partially their motivations for application. But if one were to discount that one, why here? Why our university?
Not surprised to hear that. I just don't like beating around the bush or anything. I'm a very truthful sort of person, and well, might as well say the quiet part out loud just to know sort of who I am. But unfortunately, genre is there's a reason why I left genre. Very structured, very hierarchical. I had to I had to scrape by in genre when I first started because I wasn't of the nobility class. I was just a commoner, and even worse, that a bastard. So, me me actually getting a certificate from the king and queen is a big thing in and of itself. And even though I have hunted there, I just hated the system there. It's not freeing like it is in Inkwell. You're not tied by certain class structures. A lot of things here are based on your own merits.
That's true. And merit is something that our university does hold very dear. We have people from all walks and all skill levels and all taking classes at the same campus, taking them together. It doesn't matter how much money you have. That's not the university that I want, and it's not the university we will be anymore.
That's what drew me to you guys in the first place. I really respect that. And I say, of course, was looking at other universities too. I'm not gonna lie, but hearing that from you and seeing how you came into not power, but to be the head mistress yourself, I respect and admire you for your grit and determination.
I'm just gonna roll her deception. 11. You can probably see over that. Yeah, she's a little bit flattered by that. Yeah, okay. Well, yes, I certainly wouldn't say that I'm in power. I'm more in responsibility.
Yeah, of course. I'm just sorry. Unfortunately, when it's drilled into you from kiddom, it's hard. It's even still hard as an adult, you know?
Oh, yes, I completely understand. Alright. So, well, with the complete departure of all the faculty in the Bloodhunters College, we don't particularly have any pre-existing structure or anything there. There are policies and procedures and whatnot which were left behind, of course, but what do you envision as the best way forward for that college?
Well, basically, as the way I see it, the best way forward is reputation for first and foremost. Blood hunters are close knit, and we say are close knit, almost by blood, you could say. That's a bad joke, but reputation means a lot for us hunters, and as the university grows and proves itself over and over again that it can be reputable, I already know that hunters will be brought back to your university to teach. I feel like, as a noted hunter myself, I could also bring back that reputation, say a little bit too. I'm not gonna say it's gonna change overnight because it ain't. That's just how life works, but at least it'll help.
Yes, well, reputation is partially why we're in this mess to start with. Now, we have had to suspend all classes, but we have number of students who were enrolled in the Bloodhunters College. What resources, how many staff do you think would be necessary to properly teach and support that number of students?
That's a hard question to ask. But probably this number of teachers would probably do. Look, we both know we don't know how it actually takes, but we know our characters would know, so we're just gonna say that.
Yeah. And she's writing it down. And would you be willing to assist with interviewing that many faculty if you were given this position?
I assume that I would be interviewing a lot of people. So, yes, in short.
And would you still be willing to come on as a professor in the college if someone else was given the Blood Hunter's head position?
I wouldn't mind that at all. If there's someone, say, better than me that can run the head better, yes. But consistency is always good at the beginning, and honestly, I wouldn't mind taking on the head department job assignment as well to the grave. But if there's someone better suited than I'm not gonna I'm not gonna like be mad or anything. I'm gonna be respectful.
And what would you say your greatest weaknesses are? You've got very many skills and qualifications and recommendations, but no one is flawless.
Indeed. Probably my greatest flaw is a bit of organization myself. Of course, I have organized hunting parties and along those lines, but haven't had to do a job position, well, this high up. I with so many people at the same time.
And you will forgive me, I'm not particularly flush with personal experience with the craft of the Blood Hunters myself. But
No, you're fine. Not many people are. Hence why it hasn't been really recognized until more recently.
it is, yes, very, very dissimilar to my own fields. However, you mentioned consistency, and you would be, as a professor and as the head of the department, required to work with a team long term, not as a short term, what was the term? A hunting party. Is that
Yes.
something that you will have any struggles with?
No, not at all. I have always wanted to even though I'm mainly someone who usually goes it alone, but I've always worked well with the people I've hunted with, unless they're jerks themselves, but that's a different topic for a different day. You know, as he reaches for something in his pocket, but then sort of like takes a breath and steadies his hand. Sorry. There will be no trouble there.
Now, you have plenty of blood hunter experience, but not a lot of teaching experience. What would you do if one of the professors under you reported to you that there was a student who was exceptional in their classes, but the other students were not able to do group projects with? They were always alone, either because their personality was too abrasive or they were too quiet. How would you support that student?
Probably start off with a nice long talk of what's going on with them. And try to get to the meat and potatoes of how they act and feel. And then go from there on direction, depending on if they're going to be resistant to, well, changing or not.
And if the reverse were the case, they were well liked, full of enthusiasm, attended every class, but their performance on tests and exams and other schoolwork was lacking.
That's easy. Just give them more resources to be able to help improve themselves. Everyone learns and grows at their own pace after all.
Keeping in mind that university, unfortunately, cannot be a free service. And while, yes, students will learn at their own pace, every class that they fail is more coin that they cannot get back for some time. So we need to make this worth their while, balanced with giving them the knowledge they need. If resources weren't enough, if self-managed teaching and learning was not enough, at which point would you be recommending that the Blood Hunters was not appropriate? And how would you go about explaining this to a student? Say that while it doesn't seem like anything I would partake in personally, what if I had been studying at your college for some time, a year, possibly more, and I was no more advanced than someone who'd been there a week? How long would you let me try? And what would you suggest as an alternative?
Well, it would have to be more of a case-by-case basis. At least that's my gut feeling about it. Sometimes, though there are cases where some people aren't meant to be blood hunters, and that's the sad reality of it. Probably, probably stern but gentle, mainly because money don't grow on trees and don't want to waste a student's coin, as like you said. But also try to figure out what they're good at, even though they failed at other aspects. You could still sort of weed out what students are good at, even though this particular subject isn't the best for them, whether it be from them doing extra clubs or some part of being a blood hunter. What if there is say they are and he taps his finger. Say they want to be in the Order of the Mutant, but yet they can't really get a lot of their concoctions right. However, they still even though the magical concoctions aren't working, still are they still know the theory of sciences and chemistry and alchemy like the back of their hand. I probably suggest for them to maybe transfer over to that college to see if they're any better at that, or at least take some classes.
Very good. Is there anything else that you wish to tell me in order to convince me?
Well, is there any questions that I haven't asked that I should have asked?
I want you to be doing the talking, Mr. Valentine.
Fair enough. I will say that blood hunters are very divisive within the community. Unfortunately, that is just a byproduct of how we do stuff. I know this after many years. Some of us are fine with our practices. Others thinks we are devils ourselves. But I want to say I am resistant. I've been I've been through a lot through my days, and nothing gets under my skin anymore. And despite other things may get under my skin while being being in this position, I can guarantee you that I will be the most professional that I can, and I will not show my frustrations in public.
Very good. And she'll take some notes. Like she's been taking notes the whole time. And then she'll nod and stand up and offer a hand to shake. Thank you very much for coming in. I'll be in touch.
Of course, as he stands up and gives her a nice, nice handshake, nice firm handshake. Not too hard, but not too soft.
Great.
And he takes his leave.
Alright, I'm dying. Oh my god. Oh dear. I think you said you had 3. You got one more for me?
Yes, I do.
Golly, am I gonna die with this one too?
Of course.
Great.
Why did you say that? Why did you think I said 3 in particular? Look,
I'm having a wonderful time.
I knew you would. Look, you can't interview everyone, but I at least wanted to make the 3 main ones really good.
All right. Let's have at this third one.
She is the last one that of the day, you could say. You've had others before this one too. So this is the last person of the day that you're interview with. One second, actually. What? No, I'm good. Sorry, my husband had to ask me a question.
Is all good. All right, my last interview for the day. All right, who we got? What position is this for?
This is for the rogue college.
Ooh, splendid. All right.
Her name is Jessie Taran. And as she walks in, she's a female real kind tiefling with pink skin and dark red hair that looks to be like the color of wine. She also has dark red eyes, has a prosthetic left leg and arm. Wearing a nice dress. That's a mixture of yellow and oranges with a gold necklace that has a green gem on it. And yeah, she has a nice scent too. She wore perfume today that is lavender scented.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna roll that history again for background check. 25.
Oh yes, you get to say basically what she has put down is the correct answer. She's a partially retired adventurer, but also a known researcher. Her main study is history, but also has the focus on myths and legends.
Mm-hmm.
She came from Inkwell she came to Inkwell out of fascinations for particularly the erasures and how they have shaped the history of Inkwell themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And she put this application for the Rogue College because she is particularly a master swordswoman and has a lot of experience not only in the scholarly realm but also in the adventuring realm because she's basically she's similar to Indiana Jones.
Yep, sure. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, just like the other interviews, she's sitting there at the table, got all of her notes, etc. Possibly a cup of tea by this point in the day. We'll give the smile and gesture to the chair on the other side of the table. Please come in, take a seat.
Thank you kindly. As she smiles and goes over and takes a seat.
So, I've read your resume and it's very impressive. What is it that attracts you to the University of UPA?
I was looking for a possible position as a professor at a university, but then I saw that there was a head position here, and I thought, with my experience, I'd be well suited for that.
And what is it that you would bring to such a position? Like, I can see all of your experience and your research. But as the head of the Rogues College, you would, I suppose you would be dealing with rogues, and I don't know exactly how one would wrangle more than one at a time. And she gives a little bit of a sly chuckle.
So she does chuckle too. They are a slippery bunch, to say the least, but as say as a say as a rogue myself, say I have definitely learned how to wrangle it too. Say it'd be interesting to find that a lot of researchers also are roguish types too. Say mainly because they are also like me and say they do field research. It's easier to slip away when you know some of the tricks.
Yes, yes, I can imagine that would be very, very useful. But my college is distinctly more in the roguish zone rather than the research. So, what is it that you would see changing at the Rogues College in order to better facilitate the classes that are being undertaken there? From what I've seen here, your research is astounding and definitely all invalid fields, but not something that would be at home in the Rogues College.
Hmm. I provide a different outlook. I say I'm a master swordswoman, and being a rogue swordswoman is something unique I can bring to the college. A bit more order to the chaos of say cunning and deceit that usually rogues bring.
And we do still have some staff, and, well, there are some of them that have also got the qualifications to run the college. How would you reassure the staff that are here already of your skills in this area?
Hmm. Most likely out of showing my experience. Say rogues value experience in, well, to put it, say, unfortunately, to put it bluntly, how many things you have either killed or overcome, whether that be through heists or through adventures.
And what resources do you think the college would require with X number of students across several different subjects?
Hmm. I would have to look to see how they're organized, of course, but most likely that would be my first go to. Depending, say, unfortunately, it's say a little bit known that we skirt the law, say at times. So making hard and clad rules at the college would probably be my first, say, challenge. Nothing that you can easily find loopholes through.
Very good. And on that note of legality, how would you ensure that all practical components of the education being undertaken at the college were above water?
Say, probably running say, have you ever heard of assassin guilds? Say, Miss
I'm
Alamos.
I am familiar with the concept of guilds, yes.
Guilds would be probably the most, say, easiest way to regulate those sort of things. Making sure there's an official in and out of students that want to do that work legally, having a guild that is directly connected to college so we can easily monitor it would be probably the best solution.
Work experience, I suppose. Very good.
Yes,
And
it, yes, unfortunately, it is one of those touching subjects, and I do want to be respectful, but at the same time, realistic.
yes, well, not all fields in, well, both magical fields and more mundane ones have stellar and spotless reputations. rogues, of course, have a tendency towards using their skills for less than legal activities, so it stands to reason that the reputation is, well, it is what it is. But
Yes.
I would want to be confident that anyone working within the Rogues College was not only willing, but capable of instilling in the students that these are skills not to be used for, well, not to be used willy-nilly. That
He
there was
nods.
respect with them and standards with them.
Exactly. Respects and standards, of course. Which is why maintaining order would be the first priority.
Now, it says here on your resume that you are an adventurer primarily. Do you have any clients or former employers who would give a reference to your character and your skill?
Oh, I was hoping you would say that as she's about to open her mouth. And are you still holding the teacup?
Oh no, it's sitting next to her. Like it's on the table.
Okay. You hear from the table next to you, hear a voice like, "Oh, I could do that for sure." As you look down and you see chaos.
Oh my fucking god!
It's a teacup, using it as a hot tub.
Okie dokie! Let me just do a save for having a god in your teacup. Wow, okay. That's cool. 11. I think, mayhaps, she might be a bit startled.
You want to roll a dex saving throw, see if she doesn't go jump off her chair.
Okay. Sure. That's a 14. Yep. So, okay. She doesn't jump, she doesn't fall off her chair, and she didn't roll low enough that she is just yeeting the teacup at the wall. But she is definitely doing a startle. I'm gonna roll her a religion too to see if she recognizes chaos, because they've not met. Let's see. 22! Yes! Okay! Well,
Here's the thing. Chaos has been making a name for himself lately. And ironically, a lot of it has been centered around EGAD itself.
Yeah. So she is startled. She's leaning away from her teacup, and then she's looking at this person, and then looking back, and then looking at this person. And it's like,
Jesse is very much much as surprised as you are as she's staring at this teacup. She's like, "You? Yes, me, darling me." But 1 second, please. As he pulls from the void, and there's a curtain around the teacup, and then he makes a motion to getting dressed and stuff, and he comes back out in a little suit. I don't think it was not on her resume, but this woman provided an expedition to my island, and helped me reawaken myself as the starting point of her credentials. She also has other notable things of being using her power for good. She is definitely similar to one of those is there an Indiana Jones variant in this universe? I honestly do not remember. But basically, she makes sure every artifact goes to a proper museum. As he takes out like a little scroll and looks at it and puts on half moon monocles.
even, like, react to this. She's like, there's a god in my building. There's a god sitting in my tea. Oh my fucking god. Okay. She's just gonna give a small little cough. Well, that is a little bit more enthusiastic of a reference than I was anticipating, and, I see. That's...
Yeah, Jessie just nods in agreement, like she's still shocked herself.
Well, thank you, She kind of, like, what's the correct, respectful way to refer to Chaos? Is it just by name? Fuck.
Oh, you could just call me Chaos, darling. You're fine. I know your husband. I actually helped him pick out your engagement ring.
That doesn't put her at ease at all. She's just making a mental note speak to scribbles underlined WTF. Underlined.
Well, more like pushed him into the right store, technically, but I like to say that I helped a little bit. It's helping, right? Making sure they get to the right place. That's helping.
Yes, non-direct assistance is sometimes just as useful as a outright interruption into a private meeting. Thank you.
Nothing private is private in this world, darling, especially when it comes to me. I just thought she needed a reference, and what's a better reference than a god?
Well, yes, that is definitely true. This would be a lot more stunning had I not already met another one prior to this. Thank you for such a glowing reference.
Oh, no problem. It's the least I can do for her helping me reawaken from my 1,000-year slumber. Or is it 2,000? Honestly, it's been such a long time, and before the erasures and everything, but, that's neither here and there. I am more than happy to help.
Well, I by all means, I do have other questions for Jessie, so,
Oh, yes, of course. I shouldn't say this is an interview after all, but I shall take my leave as he burst into confetti.
prayer hands.
Yeah, Jessie is just stunned silent. She has said nothing during this because she doesn't even know how to react herself.
How likely do you think it would be for that to happen in the future?
I'll be honest, Miss Headmistress, I have no idea. I didn't think I would ever see that being Dee again. I know that he is the god of discord, and he does whatever he well pleases.
Yes, that is my understanding of his motivations as well. Well, okay. Well.
Yes, yeah. As she sort of like resettles herself and almost like uses her hand to like comb through her hair.
Well, that has completely derailed my entire train of thought.
Same here.
It's distinctly a different variety of deity than the one I've got experience with. Mine is much more.
Yes, you're a follower of Unbekannt, right?
Yes. Yes, I am. Much more reserved and polite.
I would hope so. I think any god that is a little bit more polite and, well, calm out than him. As she sort of chuckles nervously, trying to relieve the air a little bit, trying to make a little bit of a joke.
Yep. Selli's just gonna sort of pat her hands on the desk a little bit as she's just trying to get her thoughts back in order. It's like, well, he's certainly done what he is good at doing and completely disrupting everything. Let me think. All right. Well, we've had a very, very good reference from a previous employer and or client. What? Hold on. Let me just look at my weaknesses. I was going to ask you about weaknesses.
No, you're fine. Take your time. This is yes.
Yes, weaknesses. Where would you require the most support as the head of the Rose College, or if someone else was more suited for the head position as a professor of said college?
Either way would work for me. I think I also put an application in for a history position too, but I'm also open to other rogue classes. Also, I have multiple submissions just in case.
Yes,
I
I
know
did
that
notice
there.
that. Much
Yes.
enthusiasm was noted.
Oh yes. But I'd rather be where I am needed, and I thought the head position would probably be the best to interview for, since that's a that say leadership is hard to come by at times.
It can be, yes. And well, I'm sure you are aware of why the university is in the position that it is. We
Yes.
need
I
good leaders. We need people who are good with students, who are not simply their subject matter experts, but also people who are willing to work in teams, who are willing to work with students to help students overcome their hardships, their weaknesses, in order to not only pass their exams and get their qualifications, but to be able to use those qualifications outside of the university setting.
She nods at this. Of course. You see, that's what schools are for.
Exactly. But yes, your own weaknesses, your where you would need the areas of support. What would you say your weaknesses are?
I think my weakness would come in the form of providing some extra educational support. I have definitely have taught more recreationally, with some students and stuff, but mainly the high school setting, to get them interested in the research portion of history and other roguish factors. But haven't taught any college level courses myself. I have worked with assistants that were college level, through my research, but teaching them is a different skill altogether.
Yes, that's very true. Well, is there anything else that you would like to say to me in order to convince me of your suitability for this position?
Let's see. I would say that despite my lack of experience, in the education realm, I have been always determined to do the right thing and help many people as I can. Whether it be in an adventuring sense or a scholarly sense. Because only working together we can bring out the best in ourselves and in the world around us. It's not easy in none of the senses, but doing good work is never easy. But if we want to make the world better, it is needed.
She gives a bit of a smile and a nod, and she's writing things down. And then she'll stand up and offer a handshake like she did for Valentine. Thank you very much for coming in. I'll be in touch directly. Thank you for
Of
your
course,
time.
as she thank you for interviewing me, as she reaches out her hand and takes a shake. And then then politely leaves the room.
Once she's alone, Selli is going to sit down. She's going to look at her teacup. She is going to distinctly push it arm's length away from her. And then she's just going to kind of look at the ceiling and sigh. That was sure a finale.
Indeed.
Oh my goodness. Yes, she's definitely going to have to talk to Scribbles when she gets home. Holy shit. So we had a god show up in one of my interviews to give a reference. Who knows you, apparently. Is he going to curse me if I don't give her a job? What the fuck?
Yeah, I already see Scribbles telling her that. It's just like, it just prayer hands and just like, God, damn it. And he's like, I am not sure that's the best answer he could give.
Yep, that sounds about right. I don't think you could say anything with any surety when it comes to chaos. Great. Cool. Wonderful. Well, that was fun. I had fun.
Fun too.
Oh dear. That's great. Well, yes, I suspect the interviews are all going very swimmingly across the board. We're going to have staff. We're going to have stuff, so we're going to be able to teach again. It's going to be great, particularly in the Blood Hunters College, because all of those classes had to stop. It's like, oh dear. Yes. Are they going to go like all heckin' Lord of the Flies over there, or are we going to be able to keep them under control? Oh no! What are blood hunters like? No one knows.
Will Selli choose all three of those people as heads of the colleges?
Hi, sweetheart. You got an ice cream? Yeah. How cool! You know what? She probably would. She doesn't have any significant reason to not hire them, but like she would have them under probationary periods. So like if they weren't, if they weren't the right fit after a couple of months, she would look to replace them, and that would be written into their contracts.
Yeah, and which is normal for all jobs anyways, at least from what I've like knowing of being in the job realm.
Yeah,
I don't know why
sure.
I say it like that,
but because it's late at night, that's why.
Yes.
All right. Is there anything else, or are we done?
Unless Selli wants to do something else.
No, she's had a conversation with Scribbles. She's going to make herself a different cup of tea in a completely different cup. And she's going to try not to work too late tonight, because yes, she has to sift through all of the applicants, because there's going to have been more than just 3. But yeah.
Scribbles will tell us like, okay. Scribbles be like, okay, here's the thing. I say technically yes, I did meet him. He did show me to the place for the engagement ring, but I was with Tangy and he was supposed to help me, but then chaos showed out of nowhere and just we had this crazy escapade that eventually led to where we need to. But at the same time, I'm just like, I didn't think it was needed to tell you that. I mean, just because just like it's a god. It's just like that's weird.
She understands completely. She really does. But she's still just like, prayer hands. What more can you do?
Yeah, especially when it comes to chaos.
Yay. Oh dear. Well, thank you for doing this, Nona. This was a hoot and a half. I had a great time.
Yes. I say this has been a great time. I'll say thank you for doing this, and we'll see you all next time in the next 12 FPS. Thank you for listening. Now
bye.
and into the future. Bye.